Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Castlekeeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video is a return to my long-running series on Castles and Crusades. It is certainly one of the most covered RPGs on my channel, and it is certainly becoming my go-to fantasy RPG. Once I'm completed my AD&D First Edition campaign. So, once that's done, I'm going to make the full transfer over to Castles and Crusades. But in the meantime, I am covering as many of the books as I currently own, and which is actually quite substantial. As you can see over my shoulder right there, that entire shelf is all Castles and Crusades. And I have several Kickstarters that I'm expecting to come through in the process, so probably about another 4 books going to add to that shelf somehow. I gotta probably give it another larger shelf to start putting my collection there. But all that being said, I wanted to get back to covering the various Codex books, which are all real-world mythologies brought into the context of Castles and Crusades. And these are, I believe there are 10 books written by Brian N. Young, who is a historian, I believe a PhD historian, and so these books are very, very heavily influenced by the historical lens, and so they are certainly meaty. These are hefty volumes of books. And let's see if we get the page count on this particular one is about 255 pages, so these are big. All right, these are very, very big, and I have the PDFs to go along with them, so I'll actually be able to show you this book in greater detail. I don't know how many videos this might take, but this is just the first look, so I'm just going to skim over much of it, and then if you want me to zero in on anything that you've seen here, then I will certainly consider doing a second video to focus just on that. So it will be by audience demand to do any additional coverage on this book. So let me switch views here, and we will get right into taking a look at Codex Celtarum, and I will increase the size so that you can see. So Celtic Adventure and Fairy. So it's also going to be, it's not just a lore dump book. There will be new character classes or very inspired changes to character classes. There will be obviously new monsters and other encounter types, new gods, deities, for whatever Castles and Crusades game that you are, campaign that you are running. This can also act as a complete setting book, and so you can create a campaign solely centered on this book here and run it completely self-contained, just using this along with the Player's Handbook and the Monsters and Treasures book for Castles and Crusades to supplement into this. So let's take a look at what we have here. So let me expand this even larger. This world book has been a little over 20 years in the making, with 2 university degrees, as many years playtesting before it came together in the manner it did. It evolved out of pure fantasy-based setting that was inspired by some of the greatest fantasy movies of the early 1980s: The Dark Crystal, Legend, The Black Cauldron, Dragon Slayer, and Excalibur, and found its way into my pedigree along slightly eccentric and genetic paths. Genetic paths. The background of this world alone is enough to make a thick academy study, and someday that might be a possibility. No decision behind this world setting was chosen lightly, but was instead weighed against ancient Celtic ethos, mythologies, and history. Where there was an answer lacking, a creative substitute was put in place by a combination of Celtic idiom and fantasy analogs. The hope is this will become an iconic setting where gamers can have endless adventures and memories that will be personal and as good as any found in fantasy gaming. And so I'll leave it there. The books and chapters arranged in this very fey manner to help the reader find a way by memory wherever they have to go. Once Upon a Time is the history section. In Lands Far Away covers the world setting. There lived a people, fairy races and monsters, great of magic and power, magical abilities, items and spells, strong feats and deeds, combat and warfare, with great gods and lords, the deities, and as many powerful lords that rule over fairy, who have mighty names and feats, the castle keeper information. All right, so as always, it is a linked table of context, or content. So I love that because you could jump right into where you're interested in taking a look at. You can see it is very, very voluminous here. There's just so much content in this book. So here we have let me shrink this down a little bit. So Once Upon a Time, the Celtic universe. And so here you have the circle, basically, and you can see there's the immortal circle, and I will not pronounce any of these words correctly. But here you have the immortal circle, you have the mortal circle, you have the cauldron of the day, the cauldron of the night, you have the great cauldron, which I'm assuming is the entire thing. You have the 12 houses, and all of these are detailed. You have the prime circle down over here. I don't know if you can actually see my cursor. So we go into the history of the land of magic. You can see phenomenal art throughout, and the layout is very crisp and clean, and so you pick up, like I said, you can just zoom in on any section that is really going to be, whether it be a seed for an adventure, or just looking to further your own knowledge in the world setting. This is all very, very useful and easily accessible. So I am going to, so here we have In Lands Far Away. And again, just incredible artwork. The two cauldrons, revolving flush within the great cauldron are two smaller cauldrons that guide the progress of the basic day and night. They spin in regular course, guided by time of their own. The cauldron of day is home to the blazing fiery sun chariot of Law, or Lug, both. Irish or Celtic language is just very, very tough. The sky is referred to Wybren, or roof tree, because it is being upheld by the great tree itself. So just like really interesting little bits of legend and mythology and lore, and just so much flavor is being added to this, just just to really help bring this world alive. Unfortunately, I could not pronounce a majority of these Celtic terms, and so that would be something that would be a challenge for me at least. But I would love to do a mini campaign, run it, 6 8 months or so, and run characters through this world setting. Adventure premise. Let's take a look at this here. So here are some adventure hooks, right? A great evil is indeed within the forest of the ancients, lair deep in the furthest center of the wide woodlands is a kingdom of dark fae. They center around a mysterious leader, mortal, elfin, giant, with a question mark, so it could be any of those. The rising force's influence finds its way beyond the borders of the woods and entices adventurers to seek it out. A human child has found her way by chance or malicious influence of the dark fae into the woods. This child is being hunted, perhaps because of a possession or blood link, but it is of great importance to the evil ones after her. This child is now in the adventurer's hands. All right, so that's really cool adventure hook. So there's a number of different, so 12 different adventure hooks just for this one chapter, this one particular area. And you can see I'm 30 pages in, or roughly 30 pages in, and we're still covering we're still in chapter 2. All right, so there's still this much information about in the lands far away. Let's see if we have any other. So here we have another chart here. So a D6 roll for setting a massive hollow cavern, like a massive geode. We have the light source, phosphorescent fungi, mushrooms, moss, algae, or inhabitants must take their own lights if you want to, so torches and lamps. Just made me think that this would be a great setting for Shadow Dark as well, potentially. So, but in the inhabitants, so you could put in what type of inhabitants. So it's kind of like a random encounter generator with some potential story hooks attached to it. So here we have the mortal plane, and it's going to talk about the Britons, the Picts, the Gales, the Anglo-Saxons. It's really, really cool. I mean, this image is awesome on so many different levels. First of all, the first thing that caught my eye when I first saw this was how, the wolf is almost like 3D, right? It's jumping out of the picture, and you just see the brutality of it. And then pig-snouted orcs. All right, there is nothing more iconic than pig-faced orcs. I mean, just absolutely love it. It truly shows you that Castles and Crusades is the genuine legacy holder of Gygaxian Dungeons and Dragons. So just super, super cool to see this kind of an image in here, and just brilliant artwork all along the way. So cool stuff. There lived a people. I mean, just the art style is so unique. I mean, this is almost like just like negative, like looking at a negative and everything. You could imagine everything was originally, white, and then they just dark gray scaled everything with some black and then some, white thrown in there just to create that depth and everything. It's just phenomenal. So there lived a people, so we are going to see um, a variety of peoples. Let's see. In this chapter, the fairy race and monsters are covered for gameplay, including are some statistics and other important information that will make the Castle Keeper's job easier. Although there are hundreds of Fey folk, and many fall into redundancy through similar Celtic cultures, this section of the book will present the ones that the players are assured to encounter and play. All right, so this is not a complete list, but it's a significant list to include in your game. Some more random charts here. So the traits that Twilight Fae finds good and worth rewarding in mortals are few, but they do want to benefit those they are impressed with for keeping fairy secrets private, generosity, true love, gentleness, politeness, hospitality, neatness, fair and honest dealings, merriment and dancing, and giving them clean water or milk. All right. Usually the victim is punished in one or more ways, of these ways for terrible faults: sickness and blights, blindness, physical harm, or pinching, insomnia. Interesting. Spying on Fae and compromising their privacy. All right, so that's a slight against them. Boasting, bragging of fairy favors and gifts, greediness, rudeness and brooding, and drunkenness. All right, so those are the things that you can kind of fall on the bad side of their perception. Fairy weaknesses: secret name, external soul, magical flaw. So this seems to be like what you would use if you were role-playing a fairy character. And so these are the things that you would include: fairy traits and appearance, children of the light. So you have the elven folk, you have the Siesk, or Siege. I don't, again, pronouncing is going to be very, very difficult for a lot of these things. Let's look at their elven folk. Small to medium, 2d6, 20 feet movement, AC 10, the Bay Foe, the foe, the Fey Bow, D4 -1. All right, so their bows do not do a lot of damage, nor do their quarterstaffs. I would assume that their minus is like for melee or something is a strength minus. Their specials are fairy knowledge, vulnerable to iron, low light vision, 50 feet, and fairy abilities. Their saves are both mental and physical. Their intelligence is high. They're chaotic or lawful good. Medium Fey is their type. Treasure is none usually. And XP is 30 plus 2 for every hit point. So these are kind of smallish for like your typical elves. They average around 4'2". So these are, a much more traditional vision of elven folk. than you have like the high elves of Lord of the Rings, let's say. I'm just looking to see what else really jumps out at me. Urisks are goat-legged brownie folk. All right, so these are brownies, just that they're slightly different. They're chaotic good. So most of these fake creatures that I'm seeing are either, simply chaotic or chaotic good. I see one here is chaotic neutral. So this is a brownie, so your traditional brownie. And they're going to be short, 4 foot to 5 foot. Peat fairies, ballybogs. That's pretty cool looking. They're 3.5 feet tall. Their move is very fast. Look at that, 45 feet movement though. That's super fast. So you are not catching them if they run. Just some really, really interesting stuff here. So these are chaotic neutral to neutral evil. They are Velcloin. A Rolfo dog-headed fae, that run with wild packs of their likeness and fairy. They can be chaotic neutral or chaotic evil. Griggs you find in Dungeons and Dragons as well. And here they are represented here. I'm looking for things that jump out. Obviously leprechauns. These are pixies. Super fast move, 60 feet. That must be flying. Or possibly not. It doesn't actually mention flying though. That is super, super fast. Children of Darkness, so here you're going to get the evils. This is almost like a hill giant. The Athak. The Bobon Sith, very interesting. Maybe that's where Sith come from. Are the vampiric children to the Bob Katha, one of the 3 sisters of Morigna. They draw blood by using their sharp fingernails and sometimes fangs, and mainly target men. They dwell mainly in Tir Tylunad as cousins of Guidanad, but can be found elsewhere in the worlds too. So pretty cool, kind of like a vampiric hunger, wild hunt, fairy lore, superior intelligence, chaotic evil. Hit die is just 2d10, medium sized. Their bite does 3d12. Holy crap. And they're close to 2d8. So they do a lot of freaking damage. That's one thing about Castles and Crusades and their mythology-based creatures. They tend to deal out a lot of damage. So don't let the hit die be an indicator of, oh, this is not very powerful. it's going to have between 2 and 20 hit points. That's not the real indicator. It's how much damage they deal out is oftentimes the way you can tell the difference between a mythology creature and one that comes out of just the Monsters and Treasures book, which are fantasy, fantasy creatures. All right, I am going to zip through and get out of this chapter here. We're going into chapter 3. Oh, we're still in chapter 3. So we still have all these creatures. We're still into the evil creatures. Now we have fey beasts. And there is just so much here. Let me actually do this. And it's not going to catch up, is it? I just froze everything. All right. All right, there we go. Table of contents. Let's see. So here are your fairy-like spells. All right, we're looking at it. So here are all your various spell-like abilities for fairies. So general spell-like abilities, and then your special spell-like abilities. Clerical spells. So some of these are going to be specific to this world setting, but you can also take them into other world settings as you wish. And here are your druidic spells. And some of these are, again, either centered on this particular setting, or you can also bring them about into other areas. Illusionist spells. And then we have the spell descriptions. So tons of new monsters, tons of new spells, tons of new magic items, both a background lore for the setting and then setting details about the people and the champions and the locations and deities and heroes and everything. I mean, it is just jam-packed with so much content that it really is amazing how much is actually in this. I am just going to scan ahead and see what else we get. Is this the Castle Keepers section? With great gods and lords. So here we have the deities and lords section. Carrot size and magical capabilities. Great of name and mighty deeds. Character classes, you have fighter, ranger, rogue, assassin, barbarian, monk, wizard, illusionist, cleric, and knight, and paladin. So here's some unique ones for this. So you have the Woodwoes class. It is a dexterity based. And then we have the Wolf Charmer, which is wisdom based. They give you ideas for adventures for these classes, so that's really pretty cool. Then naming your characters. Gaelic names and male Brythonic names, female Brythonic names, Gaelic names, male, Gaelic names, female, items enchanted and divine. So a whole section on magic here. And let's see, we're getting close to the end. So here is a map of the area, and they give you where the Celtic people are, the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes. So spread about here. A description of those peoples. A little focus in on this particular area. Chapter 8, the Tree of Life. Halloween, which are upcoming, so you can get into one of the most important times in the Celtic year. It is, according to some, the end of the old year and the beginning of the new. The Druids socially engineer labor from communities and the nobility to prepare for the month, and so on. So Halloween is a big, important time of the year in Celtic culture and mythology and lore. Oh, I froze up again. Sometime, there we go. The Wild Hunt. So these are like festivals and other things as well. And here is the circle. And it kind of shows you, so if you were going to run a campaign, this would be your campaign world that you would be setting everything in. And that is pretty much a very fast overlook through everything. Again, if there's anything you want me to specifically take a look at, please feel free to leave a comment in the comments section. Just recently, Brian and Young came to my channel and actually left a comment on one of my previous Codex mythologies that I covered on the channel, and he's certainly welcome to even come on the channel. I would love for him to come on the channel, and we can talk about just the process that he has taken in writing some of these. He had mentioned that he's done about 10 of them, so, and I have many of them here already. So I mean, it's just phenomenal work. You can see all of the detail that is in this book. I will give you a full screen look here. So here is the book. You can see, it is huge. What lies herein? An exhaustive list of Celtic gods, Druidic magic, fairy magic, magic and wonders of the Celtic world. Bring the ancient world to the table, and it is definitely a great setting book for you to get your hands on, and it is certainly flexible enough that you can move this into any other fantasy RPG that you wished. Specifically designed for castles and crusades, it probably works best there. But you could certainly convert this to Dungeons and Dragons, whatever edition. Probably the closest would be first edition. But just be mindful that, as I pointed out during the video, the creatures that are in these codex deal a lot of damage. And that is by design. So, don't be misled by the idea that, oh, it only has 2 hit die. It's not very powerful. You have to take a look at those damage outputs of some of these creatures, and you'll see that these are mythological creatures for a reason. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember always, thumbs up on it if you enjoyed it. Leave your comments. Subscribe if you hadn't subscribed. Share the videos and hit the alert button so that you'll get an alert when new content is coming up on the channel. And I will be making a continued return to these Codex books from Castles and Crusades from Troll Lord Games, and and most of them I believe that I have are all written by Brian Young. So be on the lookout for at least 2 or 3 more of these video first looks over the next couple of weeks. Thanks for stopping in. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and have an enjoyable weekend. I always forget it's Friday, so we're about to go into the weekend. So enjoy your weekend of hopefully gaming, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.